Get up, you son of a bitch!
Cause Pawn's drunk loves ya.
What up? What up? What up? You already know this is Punch Drunk Boxing, aka Mr. Moonshine himself, aka El Adobo, aka El Sazón, aka El Borracho, aka Café Bustelo, aka El Pastor de Boxeo. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you at this side of heaven. God bless you all. Yeah, man, nearing the end of 2025. A lot of things happening. A lot of things happen in the sport of boxing. Shout out to Reha season. We seen Virgil Ortiz do his thing. We seen Bam Rodriguez do his thing. Um, we seen Alessandro Usyk beat Danny Dubois, stop Danny Dubois. Did we see it? Was it this year that Danny Dubois stopped Anthony Joshua? Was it this year? We seen the was it this year also that Keyshawn Davis and his brothers went through that stuff? Dímelo, Bleezy. What else? What happened? What else happened this year? We had not are we gonna mention what the best and worst things in the sport of boxing? And there's a lot of things, there's a lot of great things that happen in the sport of boxing. There's a lot of mediocre things that happen in the sport of boxing. There's a lot of unfortunate things that happen in the sport of boxing. Shout out to most valuable promotions for showcasing all woman card in Madison Square Garden. Right? That just was this year as well. Katie Taylor defeated Amanda Serrano. Shout out to Amanda Serrano. Shout out to the queens of the sport of boxing. Right? What else we had? We had, and look, it's up for the debate. I know y'all seen the thumbnail, and the thumbnail said, hold on, let me put up the thumbnail. Because we're gonna be discussing the best and worst moments in 2025 in the sport of boxing. Like I said, there's some good moments. Terrence Bud Crawford made me eat crow. I be eating crow sandwiches, crow soup, expired crow. I'm telling you, it's been a crazy year. He defeated Canelo Alvarez, the former face of boxing, the former king of boxing, the former cash cow, the former super middleweight undisputed King Nello, aka Cartelo, aka Cash Nello, aka Payday, aka get the fuck out of here, man. To become a 3 division undisputed world champion. There's something incredible. There's something that probably no man is ever gonna do within the sport of boxing. Just like I believe that nobody else is ever gonna do what Manny Pacquiao did, an 8 division world champion, 5-time lineal, 12-time world champion, the ambassador, the senator, the humanitarian, the greatest karaoke singer of them all. The GOAT. I don't think nobody else gonna be doing that. Jim in the building was good, man. Sesa in the building. Out on a hustle again. I see. Great job. Caesar in the building. If you haven't become a member of the Punch Unboxing, you already know where to go. What else? What else we got? What else we got? Oh man, it's hot in here. Hold on, give me a second. Sheesh. Davo in the building. And we got bad thing that's happening in the sport of that the worst thing that's happening in the sport of boxing. We're gonna be talking about that Floyd Schofield kid Austin. A lot of people feel like it was ridiculous allegations toward Shakur Stevenson, embarrassing allegations toward Shakur Stevenson, but he did make it up with a knockout victory versus Tevin Farmer in the first round. But we're gonna be talking about it still happened. We had a boring weekend on that Times Square Reha season with Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull, Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, and Rolly Romero versus Ryan Garcia. Tifam Lopez saved the day, and the cops and the firefighters saved the day. You know what I'm saying? On that Times Square card, I think it was a little bit of a letdown because I thought there was going to be people looking at, I think it was going to be a whole fan. We thought that it was going to be all closed. So I think that's one of the worst moments as well because we thought that it was going to be We thought that they're gonna close Times Square and all the fans. It was gonna be public watching the fan, and then it was just it became like a boutique just for the riches and stuff like that. So I think that was a letdown. You know, Chino in the building was good. Um, I believe one of the best moments, one of the best moments. Hold on, let me put it. Let me put the picture. Let me put the picture that is gonna give a is gonna give. Um, hold on, I gotta erase. I gotta take out a picture. Maybe one of the biggest moments of the sport of boxing in which um Jake Paul got his jaw broken by Anthony Joshua. Most people may say that that's the best moment. There's a lot of people that don't like Jake Paul. Shout out to Jake Paul. I think he's done a wonderful job in the sport of boxing. Hold on, let me see if I could upload one of the biggest moments in the sport of boxing. Hold on. Gotta erase something. I gotta take out something. Gotta take out something. Hold on. Give me a second, folks. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a shaky. Where this picture at, bro? Up to Bud Crawford defeating Canelo Alvarez. This may be this moment may very well be my favorite moment of 2025. It really the only reason why it kills it just a little bit was that if I was Chris Eubank Jr., I would have I just would have milked it. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody was looking at Chris Eubank Jr. You got to be a world champion. He never. No, there was no pressure of Chris Eubank Jr. into rushing the rematch. Like I would have done so many interviews. I would have done commercial. I would have captured every endorsement I can. I would have waited like a year before I get in the ring again and stuff like that and give it a rematch. It was so much to capitalize off this moment. This was cinema at its finest. This was one of the greatest moments that I ever witnessed in the history of the sport of boxing. Not only 2025 is just y'all know how I feel about the father and son collaboration. Fatherhood is prominent in the sport of boxing. I'm very much into advocate of fatherhood and stuff like that. So this was a beautiful moment. It was a tear jerker. What they call it, a tear jerker. A moment. Um, and it just made sense. It just made sense. Like I don't think a director could have even like you could make a movie out of this moment. You could make a movie out of this moment. You know what I'm saying? Estranged relationship with the son and the father looking out for the son. And look, and in the end of the day, Chris Eubank Jr. was right Chris Eubank Sr. was right all along. He was right all along. Hold on, let me see what other moment. So yes, we're going to discuss. Many people feel like this was a great moment in the sport of boxing. Anthony Joshua breaking the jaw of Jake Paul. A lot of people was getting tired. A lot of people feel like that was a clown show. A lot of people feel like he's disrespecting the sport of boxing, in which I think differ. I think that he's great for the sport of boxing. I think Most Valuable Promotions has done a wonderful job. I love the way that they emphasize and helping and empowering women boxing. I think if it wasn't for Most Valuable Promotion and Jake Paul, women boxing the sport of women boxing will be dead. I think we'll be having certain fights, certain events here and there. But if it wasn't for Most Valuable Promotions and believing in women, and the signing of Amanda Serrano, believing in the Most Valuable Promotions and stuff like that, and adding credibility to Most Valuable Promotions, I would have by now I think that women boxing would be dead. What's good? What's good? What's good? Caesar in the building. Con los cinco pesos de super choppy chatty body game. My favorite moment was when Teofimo Lopez beat any Mexican fighter, Arnold Barbosa. Or what about when Teofimo Lopez smacked Arnold Barbosa? I think that's one of the highlights of 2025. I'm not gonna say that's one of the best or worst moment, but I think that's one of the highlights of 2025 when Teofimo Lopez smacked the crap out of Arnold Barbosa. My favorite moment was when Teofimo Lopez beat Mexican fighter Arnold, bro. A lot of people has had Arnold winning. For your information, Teofimo Lopez is my favorite fighter, always been. Shout out to Caesar. Good looking out. Appreciate you, brother. The boxing roll was good. The boxing roll in the building was good, man. What are the best moments and the worst moments? New member, new member, new member. Berlizzi for Presidente. 7367. Good looking out for your loyal support. I appreciate you, man. Welcome to the familia. Welcome to the familia. Um, so yes, best and worst moment of 2025. Y'all already know anyway, by the way. T from Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson, Madison Square Garden. Get your tickets right now, ladies and gentlemen. One of the biggest fights of this generation, or probably the biggest matchup of this generation. Skill for skill, sweet signs for sweet signs, legacy versus legacy, prime versus prime, accomplishment versus accomplishment. The two division undisputed world champion should be recognized as the first two division undisputed world champion by the age of 25 in the full belt era. Teofimo Lopez versus the three division world champion, super featherweight unified the titles. Shakur Stevenson undefeated. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know this is going to happen in January 31st. New York City, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Two tri-state fighters fighting for the face of boxing. Fighting for the new face of boxing. Shout out to Layla Ali, the queen, passing the torch to Alicia Baumgartner. I did a video earlier on the day, and I said, you know, we all know that Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, the queens, the two of the most decorated champions in the history of the sport of boxing, or the twilight of their career. Amanda Serrano, she might retire in the end of 2026. She's going to tie or beat Christy Martin record for having the most knockouts in women boxing history. And right there, she will cement, really, no arguably, no debating, that she is the greatest woman to ever lace them up. But just like we talk about the men, right? And we talk about, damn, yo, Canelo Alvarez is not where he's at. But Crawford has retired. Who is going to be the face of boxing when it comes to the men? So we have the same questions for the ladies. Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor in the twilight of their career. Who will be the new face of women boxing? Is it going to be Alicia Baumgartner? Do you think it's still Clarissa, is Clarissa Shields? Is it going to be, is it going to be Fundura? You know, but Layla Ali passed the torch to Alicia Baumgartner. He said, shout out to Clarissa Shields. That girl coming for punch. Raps on boxing out as the voice of the UK. London, bruv. Anyway, yo, Punch, how you doing, brother? What I missed, I'm just getting out. You ain't missed nothing yet. We just discussing what is the best and worst moment of 2025. What is the best and worst moment of 2025? Again, personally, one of the best moments, and I think it was the Chris Eubank Jr. reuniting with Chris Eubank Sr. out there in the UK, the first fight. I think the second fight did take it away from that first moment because, of course, in the sport of boxing, Berlizzi for presidente con los 5,000. No sé lo que peso, no sé lo que, I don't know what it is. In Japan. Love from Japan. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, big bro. Good looking now. Appreciate you. Yo, how's Japan, man? That's one of my bucket lists, my brother. I want to go. I want to see how Japan is. I want to go to Japan, Tokyo. Let me know how it is out there, man. That's one of my bucket lists. How's the weather out there? Is it winter right now? Appreciate you with the 5,000. I'm not sure what's what's the so I'll say the five. How you say it in Japan? 5,000 guap. We can say guap. How you say it in Japan? Good looking now. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, man. I want to go to Japan, man. Shout out to Naoya Inoue. Shout out to Nakatani. Gonna end the year. Naoya Inoue gonna be fighting for the fourth time this year. That's one of the great things in the sport of boxing. It's one of the great things in the sport of boxing. Going to be fighting four times in an era of boxing in which high profile fighters only fight 1 to 2 times a year. Now, Oya Inoue is voiding the frustration of the boxing fans and fighting 4 times a year. I believe in the past 2, 3 years, the most active fighters have been Naoya Inoue and Joseph Parker. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Joseph Parker, shout out to Naoya Inoue, fighting 4 times. I wish that Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Tank Haney, and that's why I don't think that we could have never moved to a Bud Crawford era because they only fight 1 time a year, right? You know what I'm saying? I want to go into an era where and the face of boxing that he's going. At least we know when you're going to fight. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat what's your worst and best year. So let's discuss the worst moment, in my opinion. The worst moment. The worst moment was Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield Sr. and Kid Austin. Excuses, allegations. Many people in the sport of boxing felt like it was totally ridiculous. And the reason why I'm a little bit more the worse and upset about that situation was because I was a massive supporter of Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin. I was the first one in the YouTube in the YouTube platforms and social media to be talking about Kid Austin. I was pumping Kid Austin. And matter of fact, I still like Kid Austin. I still like him as a fighter. I think that he has a lot of promising. I think he's gonna be a world champion probably by 2026, in my opinion. I think he'll give anybody a run for their money in the lightweight division. But the way they carry themselves 2026 receipts, without no receipts, was very embarrassing. Was very embarrassing also for the those that supported them, and I just didn't. It just when I gave it enough time because all I'm saying, yo, put out some receipts because there's a lot of people out there that support you. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of voices out there that support you, and the way they carry themselves, and they had a mountain of excuses, ladies and gentlemen, a mountain of excuses. Let's just start. Let's just start with the mountain of excuses. Hold on. Give me a second. Let's upload this. Let's upload this. Give me a second. Let me take this thing out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's upload this. Smash that like button. Give me a second. All right. Let's start it off. So y'all know that Kid Austin was supposed to be fighting Shakur Stevenson. They called out Shakur Stevenson. They put themselves in position for a world title. A lot of people feel like they wasn't ready. Even at the beginning, Oscar De La Hoya and Bernal Hopkins feel like they wasn't ready, but they gave them their full support. They barked. They got the fight. Shakur Stevenson says that if Williamson paid the Ducks, that they will give an opportunity to Kid Austin. Shakur Stevenson held up to his word. And then leading up to the fight, a barrage of excuses was showcased by especially Floyd Schofield Sr. First, they didn't make it to the first press conference because they said that somebody bit their homework. I'm sorry, that somebody tore up their signature pages of the passport. Let's just go through a little bit of the allegations right there. Uh, uh, um, Passport issues claim Shakur Stevenson mentioned in a bizarre claim from Schofield's side about someone breaking into their house, ripping a page out of the passport, which Stevenson viewed as a potential early excuse not to come to the fight. The dirty tricks. The Schofield camp also suggested that there was dirty tricks, a mole in the gym, in their camp, in their house, which they mentioned in somewhat trolling manner, suggesting people they thought they could trust. Here now. The poison allegations, ladies and gentlemen, in which Schofield's father, Floyd Sr., posted a since deleted message on social media alleging his son was poisoned. He claimed a masseuse from Shakur's team wiped a cream on his son, causing the illness. Oh my God. Let's not forget the burglary. The burglary in the an incident at this home reportedly led to stolen passports, ripped passport, causing issues for a scheduled fight against Shakur Stevenson. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. I believe that this was the worst moments of 2025. And then it continued. Let's go by the tweets, the before and after tweets. Floyd Schofield Jr., who got I think this is an issue as well because um social media is Floyd Schofield Jr., but the thing is who runs the social media is his dad. So he's representing, he's putting his voice into his son, and people are looking at his son like he crazy. But of course, his son is gonna support his father. His father's been there since day one. Um, he's probably he manifested everything that his father has instilled in his son. And like I always say, fatherhood is prominent in the sport of boxing. But anyway, Flo Schofield Sr., we see some tweets say, "You both were cool. Why you try to kill him?" He's talking about Shakur Stevenson. We supposed to solve things in the ring as boxers. That shit was very foul from your team. This is accusing Shakur Stevenson of hiring people to break into his house, um, people breaking into his garage and popping tires. That they had to go through several Airbnbs and they have to go through 4 to 5 rental cars. And each and every time they rented a car, they popped the wheels. It was, ladies and gentlemen, this was one of the craziest excuses in the history of the sport of boxing. This was beyond George Foreman after the Muhammad Ali fight. This was beyond Deontay Wilder after the ass whooping that Tyson Fury gave him in the second fight with the costume and the egg weights and the dented skull. This was beyond, like, I gave myself and other boxing content creators a Oscar nomination for the acting of how we stood firm, how we kept our composure, and to listen to all these excuses. Yo, shout out to channels like Mill City, who they now the Floyd Schofield Senior goes over there religiously, and Mill City has to listen to all this and keep a straight face. I have to give credit to Mill City for being one of the best actors. Shout out to my guy, Mill City, for keeping a straight face through all of that. Um, Belize, he said, worst for me was Pacheco getting dropped a little while ago. How you feel about him fighting Shiraz? I don't think that I don't think that Diego Pacheco fights with IQ. I think he got a low IQ. He got a fighting spirit, but I don't think he's ready. He's young. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's no rush. I don't think that nobody's rushing Diego Pacheco. So I think that they should take their time. Ain't no rush with Diego Pacheco. Take their time. You know what I'm saying? He reminds me of Brandon Figueroa. He reminds me of an early Sebastian Fundura. That you got the height, you got all the natural ability to to you know take advantage of your range. You're very tall. You an enigma in that division, and you fight to the height of your competition. And I think that he don't know how to identify range, and that's what's gonna, that's gonna get him in trouble. I don't think that Shiraz is really all that, in my opinion, just because he knocked out Edgar Belanga. I think he lost to Carlos Adamas, so I think it's a good. Matter of fact, I think it's a good fight. I don't think too much of Shiraz, to be honest. I think Shiraz is more of a hype job, in my opinion. So I think I actually I think I- if Diego Pacheco learn how to identify range, I got Diego Pacheco beating Shiraz. If he don't, I got Shiraz. But I don't really, I'm not too fond of Shiraz, in my opinion. I think he's more hype because of um people have a fond respect for Turkey Al Sheikh, and I think they give Shiraz a pass just because of that Carlos Adamas. If if Shiraz was American, they'll all these channels will be like, no, you got to give Carlos Adamas a rematch. But because there's not a large fan base of Dominican fan base and stuff like that, um, they don't. I think it's weird that that the boxing community did not shame Shiraz to fight Carlos Adames the rematch. But that's how they treat Dominican fighters, I guess. Resendiz and Shiraz will be better. I wish I would have trained to fight. I fucked my life up. Blame April 23 says Crawford Benavidez. I don't know about that. Um, my best worst moment of 2025 was seeing Mike get back. Ooh, but that wasn't 2025. That was 2024. That was November of 2024. So it can't be that. It said my worst moment of 2025 was seeing Mike get back in the ring with Jake. It was an amazing watch and legend again, but I hate it. That was 2024. That was 2024. Um, hold on. But yeah, let's continue with the so Kid Austin, why the excuses, people are going to feel dumb when they see the proof. We're still waiting on the proof. We still waiting on the proof, and that's all I ask. Just give us at least half of the receipts. Give a little bit of receipts. You know what I'm saying? So those who you deem want to support you, and you turn their backs on their support because you know what I'm saying. You want people to play dumb along with your, you know what I'm saying. And I wasn't, I was not gonna do it, so I'm gonna feel disrespected, right? But anyway, people are going to feel dumb when they see the proof. People fear Floyd, and this just made him more focused. Karma is very real. All things will be revealed in time. We look forward going home to Texas on to the next fight. The fight game is so dirty on this level. They poisoned my son. Is this snack work? So we still want to see the proof. Where's the doctor's note? Where's the BCC? The BCCC? It was just I think that was the worst moment in my opinion of the year. But at least that Kid Austin went back in the ring and beat Tevin Farmer in the first round. And I think I don't think he surprised a lot. I think I don't think the win surprised a lot of people. I think the way that he went out there and did his thing in the first round to put and to put a little bit of the things, those allegations behind him. But recently, that has been resurfaced in several interviews. But folks, what is your best moment? Is the best moment Bud Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I think Bud Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez is the best and worst moment. It could be both. There's a lot of Canelo Alvarez fans. I've heard the people that was out there, you know. And I also want to give a shout out to the members of the channel, to the loyal supporters that rock with your boy, engage with the channel. Shout out to those who has helped the channel tremendously. Charles of the Cheese. Hopefully everything is good with my brother and he's doing great in his health and his family and his niece and everybody. He's a tremendous help, you know what I'm saying? Um, had a lot of credibility and humanitarian work for the channel and the community. Helped a lot of people out there through the channel and stuff like that. Boxing Talk, Fight Fury Films, and boxing. Um, Jackie Hernandez, Christian Padilla, you know what I'm saying? Savage, those that just consistently, Cesar, all of y'all been showing love to the channel consistently, and I appreciate y'all, man. On the good days, on the bad days, consistently. Hold on. Where's that? Well, I can't see the. Okay. There's Savage. Savage in the building. Best moment for me was Bivol winning. Stop playing with him. Was that the best moment? I don't know. of 2025, I believe is one of the best moments, but it's the best moment, like the best moment. So, okay, let me finish saying this though. Let me finish saying this. So I think the best moment and the worst moment was Bud Crawford and Canelo. I think this is the worst year for Canelo. Not only because he lost to Terrence Bud Crawford. I mean, that's one of the biggest moments. I was very critical of the fight, but I was also and look, I was critical of the fight. I did make my prediction. I thought that Canelo Alvarez was going to beat Bud Crawford, but I was angered of Canelo Alvarez's move at the same time. Like I wasn't a fan of Canelo Alvarez going into this fight. I predicted that Canelo Alvarez was going to win, but I wasn't a fan of how he moved. I feel that Canelo Alvarez put himself in position in which it was very hard in the sport of boxing to be in that position, in power position, right? Canelo Alvarez promotions, locking deals, TV deals. You know what I'm saying? I think he was making so great moves, big moves. As a matter of fact, I'd rather have seen Canelo Alvarez versus Jake Paul. I think it would have been better if it was if Canelo Alvarez breaking the jaw of Jake Paul. Damn punch, they are shadow banning you for real. You don't even pop up on feed. I have to look for you, bro. I know. You know, they've been doing that the whole year. They've been doing that the whole year, and I'm good. That's why we only got 22 people looking on. But you know what, man? You know what? I'm tired of being frustrated about it. You feel me? I mean, I can't control YouTube. I can't control, you know, like I see the analytics and it says, I see the analytics and it says that the subscribers that's following the channel is 28% of the subscribers that tune into the video. So that means the subscribers are not even tuning in like that no more. So is the people that's actually tuning in is a matter of fact is showing. I think it's 78% non-subscribers in the past 2 months in my analytics are showing love to the channels. So my subscribers are not even showing love, and that's why we got so much low numbers. You know what I'm saying? People may have been subscribing, but they're not showing love in the live. They're not really engaging with the video. I think that people see a video and then they press subscribe, but then they never come back. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is, man. I'm tired of being frustrated. I gotta appreciate. And I was thinking about this. I just gotta appreciate the people that's rocking with me. Whether it's 5 people looking on, 20 people looking on, 30 people looking on, 50 people looking on, and stuff like that. I gotta appreciate those that show love to the channel. The reason why I'm going live right now at the age, I mean, at the time at 141 is because those like y'all right now is gonna show me love, and those that don't. You know what I'm saying? I gotta appreciate those that show me love, and don't worry about those that don't show me love. You know, watch Legends again, but it's like they say. What they said to what old man told me: be with the woman that loves you, not with the woman you love. Stay with the ones that love you. You know what I'm saying? Don't chase. So yeah, man. What else? So the best moment, we had some good moments. I think they have some breakout fights. I think they have some. Look, I think that Devin Haney had a good comeback. I think that Devin Haney was the most crucified. I think that Devin Haney was the most crucified fighter in 2024. I think that I've never seen nobody get crucified so much for first. It was Ryan Garcia. It was Ryan Garcia that popped for Osterman. And I said he was going to get the benefit of the doubt anyway, because of course Devin Haney was in cahoots with Snack and Victor Conte. We already know, God rest his soul. Um, he passed away with cancer, battling with cancer. But shout out to Victor Conte, his family, his friends, his loved ones. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's why Devin Haney didn't get the benefit of that 2024, because we looking at drug tests or PEDs or something like that. People just do not trust. Well, people not trust. I don't think that anybody that was with Snack is trusted 100%. You know what I'm saying? I think that the difference between Terrence Book Crawford and Devin Haney, as Devin Haney got a fan base of haters, and where Terrence Book Crawford don't got a fan base of haters. So that type of the Victor Conte and snack really didn't impact the brand of Terrence Book Crawford like that. Yeah, a few of us has mentioned it, but it never impacted. It never hit the ESPN and stuff like that. I tell you this: if LeBron James or Stephen Curry or Tom Brady or you know what I'm saying, should if Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, was a snack athlete, and you see a picture of LeBron James and Victor Conte, can you imagine the headlines and on ESPN? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? If they would have seen, okay, damn, LeBron James is 40 plus years old, man, still, man, in the elite fat, in elite form, still strong, still all this. Could you imagine if LeBron James took even a picture with Victor Conte? 70% of the NBA would be like that. Because people already is speculating that, yo, man, that he doing something abnormal. Could you imagine? But when it comes to the sport of boxing, it's just it's a wild, wild west. Some people pick and choose, who to go after, who to really speculate on. But I think that Devin Haney probably won like comeback fighter of the year. Breakout performances will probably be, to be honest, breakout performances will probably be Kid Austin. Maybe because I think, I could say Ben Whitaker as well, because Ben Whitaker also was a heavily criticized fighter after his draw, right? His what was it, a split decision draw? Or a lot of people was questioning Ben Whitaker, and then he got the knockout victory in his last victory. Um, I think Ben Whitaker or Kid Austin got the breakout fight of the year. Raps on Boxing Out said 2025 was a good year. I think it was a good year. I think the best year up to date was still 2023. You know what I'm saying? That 2023 year was an epic year. I think it was one of the historic years in the history of the sport of boxing. We had the heavyweight undisputed. We had Crawford versus Spence. We had Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. We had Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. We had Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor. We had Naoya Inoue becoming a two-division undisputed world champion. We had Bud Crawford becoming a two-division undisputed world champion. We had Canelo Alvarez had an entertaining year, I could say so. Not fully. No. He did. Who he fought? He fought Charlo. He fought Munguia and Charlo, I think. Joseph Parker fought like 5 times or 4 times, something like that. Um, it was a good year. 2023 was a great year. And 2024 was a little bit like it didn't match to 2023, and 2025 didn't match to 2023. In 2024, we had Ryan Garcia beating Devin Haney. I think and for the half of the year, I think that the Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney subject was in play. Basically, we let fights marinate every 3 years. Um, I think 2025 was a good year. I think 2026 is going to be an epic year. I think 2026 is going to be better than any other year in recent time. And I say this, you know why? Because not only Turkey Out Shake is forcing great fights, we got TKO coming in the mix. So we're going to see some young, hungry lions, you know what I'm saying? But also, we're going to have these promotional companies that need a home, and they're not going to marinate any opportunities anymore, because now they're all hanging by a thread. Top Rank is hanging by a thread. Golden Boy Promotion with the Zone is hanging by a thread. There's a lot of pressure right now. I was listening to Dan Raphael interview when he said that is a goal for Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis, that the only reason that's impacting that fight to move forward is actually the manager of Virgil Ortiz and him going to battles with Oscar De La Hoya and Eric Gomez. So I believe that they hashed that thing out, and I think that Rick has done a wonderful business with everybody, right? I mean, Rick has a lot of fighters, and they've been in big fights and big events. I think they can hash this one down and get this fight underway. I think that PBC don't have a budget, so I think that everybody's hanging on a thread. And if you still want to stay in business, I think these networks already has understand. I think that all these promoters and commissions hustling the networks has run its course. The networks have smartened up. They didn't see any revenues, and I think that's what happened. And I said this for years. I knew this was gonna happen. I've been saying it throughout my channel. A lot of people say, "Yo, Punch, you always this and this and this and that." I told y'all for 7 years this was gonna happen. I said for 7 years. I said all these boxers are going to come to our world of podcasting and YouTube. And I said that all these networks are going to leave boxing because they're getting tired of the promoters and the sanctioning bodies hustling the networks. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying this for years, and now we're here. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for Turkey Al Sheikh, to be honest, I don't know where boxing will be at. Think about it. Right now, if Turkey Al Sheikh right now says, I fuck it. Fuck, I'm going to soccer. I'm going to put my money somewhere else. I'm going to put my money in porno. I'm going to do something else. Fuck these boxers. They're no good to me. Top Rank don't got a home. There's rumors out there that the zone is not gonna reconstruct the contract with Golden Boy Promotions. They're gonna be looking for a home. PBC don't got no budget. Um, the only one that's really giving massive payouts is really Turkey Al Sheikh. You know, think about it, yo. Even if it wasn't for the most valuable promotions, there wouldn't be no women boxing right now. If it wasn't for most valuable promotion, because Top Rank only got one woman signed, and that's Michaela Mayer. Eddie Hearn left all the girls basically for most valuable promotions. If Jake Paul and look, a lot of people's making fun. Oh, Jake Paul, that's good. That Jake Paul, we ain't never gonna see Jake Paul again. Put it this way: how about if Jake Paul says, you know what? I don't even want to waste my time in boxing no more. I took a bad loss. I'm not getting back in the ring, and him not getting back in the ring is probably gonna hinder his cards. You know what? We don't want to be in the sport of boxing, man. There's a lot of people losing money. We got a lot of women. There's Amanda Serrano. She's in the twilight of her career. We got Alicia Baumgartner, but we got to match up with. You know what I'm saying? They could easily be like how Eddie Hearn did. So we gotta, these entities right now. We gotta value the women. Gotta value MVP, and the men and the dudes gotta value Turkey Al Sheikh. And I'm telling you, and I think is already in play. I don't think Turkey Al Sheikh is gonna be here. I think he really got people set to run certain companies. I think he got the ball rolling for other people, but it's gonna look. Let's be real. Look at the fights out there in Saudi Arabia. Ain't nobody really out there. These Saudi Arabians out there don't really. They're not boxing fans like us. Turkey Al Sheikh is a boxing fan. But look at the cards. They had 7,000 people with Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull. Look at the last card with Devahini out there. They only had like 6,000 people. They're not boxing fans out there. It's not going to last. It's not bringing the type of entertainment. He's paying people to go over there. But at one point, he ain't going to pay nobody no more. What's going to happen? They're gonna put that money into entertainment, just like they bring in all these comedians, like they brought Martin and Chappelle and Chris Tucker and stuff like that. They're gonna understand. The Prince is gonna tell Turkey Al Sheikh, look at my friend, I don't give a fuck about boxing. All right, fuck them. They're not entertaining. They're stealing our money. He shut down Times Square, bro. And the only one that truly performed was Tio. There's gonna become a time he got advisors that he's not gonna be paying these fighters like that. Watch. So, um, basically, we left fights marinating over 5 years, 3 years. Um, so I think, like I said the other day, 2026, what needs to happen, All the names has to fight each other. All the relevant names will have to fight each other. The boxing business could no longer afford marinating fights. All the fights that need to take place, everything got its good time right now. Like for example, just like I said yesterday, we seen we seen how people were so engaged with the Keyshawn Davis and Richardson Hitchens back and forth. Why they just don't make that fight right there? Like, we're not living in a world of marination no more. We're living in the world of instant gratification. We're living in the world of instant gratification. We're living in the world of we're living in the world of um of information. It's easy to get everything. Look, the whole world is like New York City. Put it that way. The whole world is like New York City. What I mean by that, if everybody don't understands, have you ever lived or ever visited New York City? It's like waiting for a cab or waiting for an Uber, or that Uber is taking what, 10 minutes? Cancel that Uber. Let's get another Uber. All right, cancel that Uber. Let's go. It's like that. We're not waiting on nobody. We're not waiting on nobody. If you don't like that bar, you go to the next bar. If you don't like that bar, you go bar hopping. I got a restaurant. If I could eat Mexican food from this restaurant, I could eat Dominican food from this restaurant right across the street. I could go over here. I could go over here. I got so much options that we don't wait for anybody. We move so fast because we got it everything in our face. The world is like New York City right now, right? It's just like how men see women in the lounge or in the club. You try to talk to a girl, she don't pay mind. You talk to the other one. She don't pay mind. You talk to the other one. There you go. She gives you some play. You talking, you dancing, and boom, that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's the world right now. And nobody's waiting on boxing. Ain't nobody waiting for no damn matchup. We ain't gonna wait for Keyshawn. Y'all ain't trying to give us Keyshawn Davis and Richardson Hitchens. All right, let's get. Okay, I'm gonna watch the basketball game anyway. I'm gonna watch college basketball. I'm gonna watch college football. I'm gonna watch the NFL. I'm gonna watch WWE. I'm gonna watch bare knuckle fighting. I'm gonna watch MMA. That's it. Like it's like we don't like people don't wait on nobody no more. They ain't put on the key fight because of the 2 million they wanted. All right, guess what? The fans don't care. They're gonna move on to the next fight. They're gonna move on to the next fight. Like the networks ain't waiting no more. Because you know what the networks and sanctioning body does? They both get together. They try to hustle the networks and promise the networks, okay, we're gonna give you 17 championship fights. That's why you see interim. That's why you see all these fake belts and stuff like that. Because that's the way they lock down network deals. So let's say, for example, Top Rank promises ESPN that we're going to feature 18 championship bouts. So if you see a bout of, let's say, for example, I'm just giving you an example. Navarrete fighting Ganso Xiao for the interim WBC. See, that's a championship fight. So they did right by their contract with the network, but that's not the fight that we wanted to see. And then when the contract is ending, then they give that fight that we wanted to see, that they really wanted. See, the zone smarten up. You remember the zone? The zone was like, nah, we don't want that fight. We want Canelo and Triple G. That's it. No, we don't want that fight. Remember the first time when Canelo was gonna fight Billy Joe something? That's not the fight that we asked for. They started saying no to certain fights. When the network started saying no to certain fights, that's when you knew, okay, people are okay. These networks are smartening up. Look at this: Terrence Bud Crawford versus Earl Spence, Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis couldn't save Showtime. It was already in play, man. Showtime, Paramount was leaving the sport of boxing. Why wouldn't you think about it? Showtime, we got Canelo, we got Earl Spence versus Bud. We gave them uh, uh, um uh, Tang versus Ryan. It was already in play, bro. More powerful people was behind the scenes saying, nah, don't give him shit. That play, that power play with Turkey Out Shake and Dana White was already in play. Because think about it. How does Dana White, TKO, who have not proven nothing in the sport of boxing, get billion, what was it? $7 billion deal? $7 billion deal to a company that haven't proven nothing in the sport of boxing. Think about it, folks. Who currently don't even have a star in the UFC. Think about it. I think behind the scenes is already in play. Nah, don't give Top Rank this. Don't give Golden Boy this. Don't give nothing this. We're gonna run boxing. We're gonna run the North America scene. Remember, Paramount Showtime. Oh, that was a. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of the worst moments as well. Actually, the worst moment was Tank corrupt as getting the draw. That's one of the, yeah, yeah. That's one of the worst moments as well. Lamont Rose got robbed on broad daylight. We saw the fourth wall already been broken in the sport of boxing. The corruption at its finest, from the referee, from the New York State Athletic Commission, reviewing the fight, saw what everybody else saw, and still did not change the outcome of the fight. Crazy. We saw the referee count it. We saw Gervonta Tan Davis turn his back. We saw Gervonta Tan Davis get his eyes wiped. That's a disqualification. Turning your back, disqualification. The trainer touching you in between rounds, disqualification. Didn't get the knockdown, but the referee started counting. The New York State Athletic Commission reviewed all of that and still didn't find no issues with it. Crazy. Crazy. Corruption at its finest. And that's why. And then people want to say, yo, when people want to discuss boxing, yo, I'll bet you punch wrong boxing. I don't bet on boxing. You crazy? I don't bet on this. I don't bet on something so corrupted like this. I mean, look, I believe that everything has a little bit of politics and corruption in it. But when it comes to the sport of boxing, I know my favorite sport. I know my sport is the most corrupted. The thing is, I love the art in the ring. I love the mano a mano. I love the challenge. I love the entertainment value of combat fighting. But the business, the sport itself, is the most corrupted. Boxing is the most corrupted sport of all sports in the history of all sports. That's why I don't, especially in boxing. That's why I don't bet on boxing. Why would I put? You're gonna put your heart, soul on something that you got knowledge of in terms of technique and whatever, and then they rob, and then you lose your money because of a robbery and corruption. I'm not gonna bet. Crazy. Keep that. Nah. You scared, punch. You just don't want to bet. Nah, I don't want to know. No, no. Imagine if I would have bet on Lamar Roach. Imagine if I would have bet on Lamar Roach. Nah, man. I don't bet on boxing. You crazy? I don't bet on boxing for bragging rights to win a boxing debate. Nah, it's the last. Betting on boxing is like really playing the lotto. It's not just strategically knowing your sport and betting on it and stuff like that. Like you could do with baseball, you could do, you know what I'm saying? You could do with basketball, even though that basketball you already know had that referee that was gambling and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? Boxing is like what happened to El Viejo versus Rolly. Come on now. Exactly. I wouldn't be. Yeah, just yeah. It's crazy. Yep. You right, Mr. Liquid. You right about that. What else was a what else was a year? Oh, also, man, I've been if y'all been following the channel, January 10th is gonna be a good day. You got Subriel Matias back in the ring. You got Henry Cedeno Martinez gonna be fighting on January 10th in the Barclays Center. And you got one of my favorite fighters I've been talking about for 6 years on the channel. If you're familiar with the channel, Gleb Bakshi, who I feel, I'm telling you right now, remember the name. I've been telling y'all, remember this name. When I was talking about Glenn Bakshi, I was talking about Ben Whitaker, I was talking about Keyshawn Davis, I was talking about Eddie Cedeno Martinez, 2025, 2019. This is one of the most dangerous middleweights. Okay, a lot of people want to talk about Triple G. This is the most dangerous middleweight in the sport of boxing. Right now, this man will beat anybody at middleweight. All right? I've been saying this for a while, but I'm telling y'all right now, y'all just want to catch up right now. Gleb Bakshi will beat any middleweight right now. If he fights all the champion, he'll be undisputed right now. I got Gleb Bakshi over anybody at middleweight, including El Platanero, El Manguco, El Tres Golpe, and Carlos Adames. I got Gleb Bakshi versus Yoengli Hernandez. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a video about it. The future mega fight at middleweight, Gleb Bakshi versus Yoengli Hernandez. Now, that's the biggest matchup. Let me retract. The two dangerous middleweights, Yoengli Hernandez versus Glenn Bakshi. Mark my words. Mark my words. This guy's a Terminator, man. I don't know what happened. I thought he was injured or something because he haven't been in the ring for a while. We got, Uwe Nakatani, close out the year. Teofimo Lopez will open up the year. We got this fight. I got Andy Cruz beating Muritaya. There's going to be an important fight. You know why? Because I got Teofimo Lopez beating Shakur Stevenson. But let's just say, because there's people out there that feel like Shakur Stevenson is going to win. But if Shakur wins, even though I don't believe he's going to win, but let's just play the if game. If Shakur wins, I want to see a unification bout between Andy Cruz. I believe that Andy Cruz is going to be Muritaya. It's going to be a good fight. Hopefully, he's implement some power. If I got Andy Cruz beating Muritaya. Andy Cruz versus Shakur Stevenson. I'll tell you this. If Keyshawn Davis can make his way back to 135, this will be one of the biggest fights in the sport of boxing as well in North America for the hardcores. And I don't want Shakur Stevenson to do Keyshawn Davis dirty work. I want Keyshawn Davis to get the opportunity to fight Andy Cruz and avenge his losses. Worst moment of 2025, Clarissa Shields hating on Amanda Serrano. How about one of the worst year of 2025 was Clarissa Shields trying to sue Punch Run Boxing? The biggest crash out. The biggest crash out. Right, Savage? The biggest crash out. Who? Okay. I want to ask this question. This is outside of it because I was thinking about this and I always feel like I was going to talk about it. And because there's always this discussion. Every time I'm on Twitter, every time there's somebody saying that PBC blackballed Terrence Crawford. I just want to know, do y'all believe in that narrative for years? And you did PBC blackballed Terrence Crawford. And people always brings out that in that Fox, in the Fox network, when they showed all the welterweight champions that they didn't mention um Terrence Bud Crawford. Do y'all still believe? Because I believe that Terrence Bud Crawford been a privileged fighter. A privileged fighter. You don't become a three-division undisputed world champion because somebody's holding you back. That's like you getting every opportunity of every job that you applied for, and then you say somebody's holding me back. They hired me, but everybody's holding me back. You go to every fucking bank and you get a loan. The loan that you're looking for, you get it. And then you say, but Bank of America is holding me back. Chase is holding me back. Berlizzi for president said, I don't know. I thought everybody ducked him. Do you believe that everybody ducked him or do you believe that was a narrative? Because what people don't like to say that the beef that PBC had was never with Terrence but Crawford. The beef that PBC had was with the WBO. The PBC didn't recognize the WBO. It was never about Terrence but Crawford. It was about not recognizing the WBO because the PBC and the WBO was going through their thing. They had issues. So that's what the channels didn't want to say. That's what people didn't want to say. They just try to make it look like that was a victim. I'm gonna give you an example right here because look, this is what everybody always talks about, right? Yo, but Punch, you remember during the Fox when Manny Pacquiao was fighting Keith Thurman, and they was talking about the welterweights, and they ain't even mention Terrence Bud Crawford. They was hating, man. They was blackballing Terrence Crawford, bro. They was ducking Terrence Crawford. And all these years, I said, man, ain't nobody was ducking no damn Terrence Bud Crawford, man. PBC had beef with HBO, with WBO. They didn't want to recognize. That's why PBC didn't let their fighters at the time fight for the WBO like that. On the same telecast, look at Andy Ruiz. On the this was the same telecast that people say that they was ducking, blackballing, right? That PBC was blackballing Terrence Bud Crawford because they didn't mention him. Look at Andy Ruiz. When he beat Anthony Joshua, this was the same telecast. Look at Andy Ruiz. How did they have him? Read it. This was the same telecast that a lot of people never want to talk about. They never want to bring it up. How they had Andy Ruiz. How they had Andy Ruiz. Look at the telecast, folks. This was the same telecast that everybody for years been talking about. This what they was blackballing. They didn't even want to mention Bud Crawford. Andy Ruiz was PBC, but PBC didn't acknowledge the WBO. Look at Andy Ruiz, the IBF and WBA heavyweight champion, first Mexican heavyweight champion. He was talking because of his victory versus Anthony Joshua, which Anthony Joshua was holding the WBO. But because they didn't recognize the WBO, they didn't even want to put it with Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is a PBC. But people ran for years. Oh, now you remember, Punch, you remember when the Fox PBC didn't want to mention. Shut up. Nobody was ducking no fucking Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Crawford is the most privileged fighter of this era. Terrence Bud Crawford is the most privileged fighter of this era. I think in this community, the people don't want to admit it, that they look at boxing, they make the decision of boxing based on the channels that they hate and love. And that's what people don't want to admit. Let's be real, let's be honest. People hate Deontay Wilder because they hate the channels that was pumping Deontay Wilder. And yes, they don't like the excuses, but they don't like Deontay Wilder because the channels that was pumping Deontay Wilder. Some people don't like Canelo Alvarez because of Canelo Alvarez fan base. Some Canelo Alvarez fans feel like Canelo Alvarez is frustrating them, but they won't say it online because they don't want to coexist with Canelo Alvarez haters. Let's be real, let's be honest. There's no more holding back. Let's just keep it all the way real. Nobody wins. Everybody looking stupid, holding on narratives, trying to play devil's advocate. I said it a while ago, yo. I don't talk to anybody. Once you want to play devil's advocate with me, I don't want to talk boxing with you because you're wasting my time. Because we're talking boxing in a public forum, and in the end of the day, as much that we could agree or disagree on, but I love talking boxing. I love talking boxing with people that's going to break it down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. Let's joke around. Let's have some jokes here and there. But when we're talking about serious and stuff like that, let's. And the only thing that we have is our word. I think Raps or Boxing Knowledge says, but I don't think many pick fighter wanted to fight Bud as first options because they have better options. At welterweight, remember, Bud Crawford was the last one to enter the welterweight out of the Earl Spence, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? They have more, and they were PBC, so there was more accomplished. Even a Danny Garcia, that many people, many matter of fact, everybody in the sport of boxing says that he had a better run at 140 than a Terrence Bud Crawford. Had a better resume at 140. So he's coming to the welterweight division more established as a 140 than the Terrence Bud Crawford. More, how you say it, more had a better resume, more proven at 140 than the Terrence Bud Crawford. Even Terrence Bud Crawford was an undisputed. Also, was already doing numbers even at the Barclays Center. So already there's business to be made. We was talking about Keith Thurman versus Earl Spence without Bud. Bud was not in the discussion with that. Porter versus Thurman was 2016. Where was Bud at? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was talking about potential of Thurman versus Kell Brook, Earl Spence, Kell Brook, Sean Porter. Bud was not in the mix. Oh, because Bud Crawford wanted to show up to the welterweight division. At the time that he showed up to the welterweight division, there was still high-profile fighters, better. And even Manny Pacquiao was in the 147-pound division. So Bud Crawford's just, oh, they ducking Bud, but you just showed up. That's like almost like, put it this way, if Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney would have stood in the 135-pound division, and we was talking about, put it this way, it's almost like this. Who's the four kings, the potential four kings of this generation? that people was marketing, not the potential, what people was marketing. They was marketing Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and Javante Tan Davis. Why? Because they was in the lightweight division. They was attached to one another to fight. Shakur Stevenson was not in the mix of the four kings because he was in the featherweight division, super featherweight division. Featherweight division, matter of fact. But I don't think Ratchet make in-house money. Ratchet make in-house money. What you mean by that? I don't understand that one. Ratchet make in-house money. That's why Bud Crawford fought Jeff Horn. Bud Crawford fought Jeff Horn. Bud Crawford was the undisputed at 140, meaning that he could put himself in position to fight any champion at 147, and they would have to become a mandatory. But he fought Jeff Horn because that was an in-house with Top Rank, right? And why would Bud? And why would Bud? Like people don't understand. Like and that's what I mean. Like that's why in this platform, the more that you teach the business of boxing, because not everybody know, and not everybody gonna be privy to the business of boxing. If Bud Crawford is not gonna go to PBC at the time he was gonna go, you know why? Because if Bud Crawford would have said, "No, I don't want to fight Jeff Horn. I really want to fight Earl Spence, and I really want to fight Keith Thurman. I really want to go fight." You know, he just locked in a deal with Top Rank ESPN, meaning that if Bud Crawford would have crossed the street with the $4 million guarantee that he's making, he will have to give 20% to the promotional company because he will be fighting on Fox, right? Another promotional company on another network. He will have to give up 20% to Top Rank. He will have to give 20% to his manager. He will have to give 10% to his trainer. He will have to give also the belt fees and tax. That's why you never saw Bud Crawford try to cross the street. That's why. So when people be like, see, now a fight with Virgil and Boots should be made easily because they're on the same network. So they're not crossing no street. Those are fights that's easy should be made, and they're not gonna give up no 20%. What does ratchet mean, rap? I'm confused on what you were referring to. Also, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't know the business of boxing, a bunch of these people in the YouTube circuit is gonna be like they're gonna fool you crazy. If Bud Crawford would have fought Keith Thurman, it would have fought Danny Garcia on PBC, he would have to give 20%. 20% to Top Rank straight off the bat. So is Bud really that great? He cherry picked. No, he's great. He's great. What I'm saying is that the narrative of Terrence Bud Crawford being ducked is the most asinine narrative of this generation. For me, these are the worst narrative of the past 6, 7, 8 years, or whatever you want to call it, of this generation. The narrative of Glovegate with Deontay Wilder, the excuses of Floyd Schofield and the breaking of the house, burglary, ripping the passport, and the poison, Masusin, Shakur Stevenson hiring all these people to sabotage Floyd Schofield. D- uh, uh, um, um, Terrence Bud Crawford was ducked and blackballed. Yeah, he's a three division undisputed world champion for every. He got all the belts at 135, 135, 14. I mean 135. I mean 140, 147, 168. Like you got a Canelo Alvarez fight after a Masvidal fight. What beautiful opportunity is that? You got a Canelo Alvarez fight at 168 for undisputed after Majimov. And people don't talk about opportunity. Please, man, you had every opportunity in the world, bro. As a matter of fact, Terrence Crawford, he put that in negotiation with Earl the True Spence to fight David Avanesia for BLK Prime. Even BLK, even a new company, BLK Prime, was throwing $10 million at you to fight David Avanesia. And you put out of that negotiations. And you still got an opportunity with PBC and Earl Spence when Earl Spence says, I'm going against what PBC wants me to do and stuff like that. Even though that he held everyone, the whole 147 division hostage with the Belt Federation and negotiating the deal. He negotiated in bad faith. While he's negotiating a deal with Earl the True Spence, he's negotiating another deal with BOK Prime, Frank Warren and his fighter. Come on, man. Come on. Got paid the most guaranteed in the welterweight division. You can't get, put it this way. If you are undisputed world champion, you can't get blackballed. What undisputed world champion you heard is blackballed? That's like me saying, you know what? Alexander Usyk is blackballed. Blackballed from where? That's like saying, yo, Canelo Alvarez is blackballed. That's like saying Naoya Inoue is blackballed. Who ever heard of a two division undisputed world champion being blackballed? Where? In the history of the sport of boxing, what two division undisputed world champion ever been blackballed? Tell me. What was this dumb narrative going on? But also you got to understand the community that you talking boxing. There's a community out there that does hate PBC because there was a community of a bunch of channels that had high traffic that people felt they was race baiting, and the way that they promoted PBC in the YouTube community was that Al Heyman is black and he's supporting the black fighters and he's shitting on everybody else, and then people started to do these race baiting, race gaslighting narratives and content, and then a bunch of people that are and they feel a lot of pro-black channels in the beginning was supporting Al Heyman because he's black, and that's how the community became divided, and people are still stuck within that narrative. That's what happened. That's just the truth. We gotta understand. It's like you gotta understand where you at, right? You gotta understand your surrounding. That's like if you in the hood and you go to a block, you gotta understand why things roll like that, why people talk like this, why people live like this, why people survive like this. It wasn't PBC or ESPN that created a narrative that Bud Crawford can't sell. That was Bob Arum himself. Why Terrence Bud Crawford was saying, oh, on all these people was saying that I can't sell. No, that was your own promotional company that told you that. The same people that was investing in you, they the one that told you that. It wasn't a bunch of haters. It was Bobby Arim. But anyway. So, folks, what y'all think? What is the best moment? I think the best moment is the Chris Eubank Jr. and his dad reuniting and him beating Conor Ben. I think that's one of the greatest moments. I think it was a little bit sabotaged by the rematch, but that was one of the greatest moments. And I think one of the most memorable moments was Bud Crawford defeating Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if Canelo Alvarez retires. If Canelo Alvarez retires, that means Bud Crawford retires Sean Porter, currently has retired Earl Spence, and retired Canelo Alvarez. I'm gonna tell you right now, folks. If Canelo Alvarez announces retirement, oh, that's it. I put my hands up. Bud Crawford, top five, top five, top five. If Bud Crawford already retired Sean Porter, retired Earl Spence in his prime, and retired Canelo Alvarez in the back of his prime, not only beat them but retired them, he's a career killer, bro. Can you imagine, folks? He just don't beat dudes. He retires them. And they don't retire. He's not retiring these guys when they're over the hill. Because let me say, I don't give a damn what Sean Porter said. He was not over the hill. Maybe he just got tired of fighting. Maybe he just got tired of the grueling camp. But let's be real, let's be honest. Sean Porter of this era has been referred as one of the best conditioned athletes in boxing. He was doing good in that fight. He was doing good in that fight. As a matter of fact, a lot of people could debate that it was leading to a draw, leading up to the knockdowns and the knockout. People could argue that Sean Porter was winning that fight by a round before getting knocked down. He said, "Did you see the judge what he did in the Callum Simpson fight? Unbelievable." Nah. I love the Majimov and Virgil fight. He was so close to the KO. If Bud Crawford retires Canelo Alvarez, if Canelo Alvarez turns around in a couple of months or weeks and say, "I retire," my goodness. I just feel like Canelo Alvarez, man, he just bend the knee, bro. He bend his back for Turkey out shake. You should have just gone with the $100 million. Did you see? Did you hear the reports that Anthony Joshua got how much? $60 million, and this guy got over $100 million. Jake Paul. Canelo Alvarez is gonna get $100 million to fight Jake Paul, and this guy's dumb. Chose that turkey out shape bait to go out there in Saudi Arabia and fight William Skull and then Terrence Buck Crawford. You got Canelo Alvarez is so dumb. You could have had the Terrence Buck Crawford in September. You could have had Jake Paul in May, break his jaw, and then move on to a Terrence Buck Crawford fight. He's so dumb, bro. Look, it's so dumb when you see a man with that game power give it away. That's like BET, Bob Johnson. You have black owned TV and you sell it right back to the Jew, Viacom. Dummy. You don't believe in generational wealth. See, let me tell you like this. The Jews and Los Blanquitos, they will never sell their generational wealth. They would never sell a channel. They would never do that. They keep it in the house. They keep it in the generation. It's just like the Yankees. It's just like the Knicks. The Yankees, all right, is gonna be Hal, Hank, and then there's gonna be their kids, just like the Trumps. Is Donald Trump's dad, then Donald Trump give his empire to his kids. Canelo Alvarez already was locking TV deals. It wasn't even PBC presenting Canelo. It was Canelo Promotion presenting PBC. Canelo Alvarez was already getting 80% of his fights, the revenue for his fights. And this guy sold his soul, bro. Sold his soul. He's a dummy, bro. I lost so much respect for Canelo Alvarez. He's a fucking sellout, bro. He's a sellout. He sold his people out. He sold his dates out. He sold out, bro. He sold out. He sold out, bro. He's a stripper. He's a bottom down stripper. Turkey Out Shake went to the strip club. He went. He saw Canelo Alvarez is the high profile stripper and stuff like that. He threw money at him, and then Canelo Alvarez bended the knee. Dummy, dummy. Just because you were scared to lose to David Benavidez. And look, if they would have fought, I still I would have had Canelo Alvarez as a small favorite. But Floyd Mayweather took his O. Bivol took his heart. Crawford took his soul. And David Benavidez and Boo Andre took his cojones. Yeah, I said it. But Canelo Alvarez knew all along he couldn't fuck with that style. After Floyd and after Lara, and they said, nah, man, we not going to be facing no damn Demetrius Andre at 160. It's not worth losing. Fuck the undisputed admiration or aspiration, whatever you want to call it. Let's fight an older fighter at 175. He'll stay in the middle. He'll stay under fire, and I think it'll be an easier fight for me. Maybe if you would have took that fight versus Demetrius Andre would have beat him, then it would have prepared you for a fight with a Terrence Bud Crawford. Once I seen the Canelo Alvarez, if you would have looked at the video after the Bivol fight, and I said, yeah, Canelo Alvarez, he could go back to the drawing board because he's an all-time great. He's gonna activate the rematch clause. Once I seen that Canelo Alvarez did not activate the rematch clause, that's when I already seen he was afraid to lose. He was afraid to lose what he got. Like Rocky Balboa told Adrian in Rocky 3. I didn't want to lose what I got. I mean, we got the kids, we got the house. I want to lose what I got. Scared. Scared that David Benavidez was going to put an ass whooping. Put it this way. When I was with Demetrius Andre, shout out to Demetrius Andre, my brother, from another mother. After the fight, right? Whole fam went to dinner, and Demetrius Andre said, hey, yo, Canelo ain't never going to fight. He never going to fight David Benavidez. After seeing this, he's never going to fight David Benavidez. To fight David Benavidez, these were the words, word to everything I love. He said that. He said, yo, I'm gonna tell you right here, bro, man. I hit him with everything, bro. That motherfucker ain't feel shit. Hey, yo, Canelo Alvarez ain't never gonna fight this dude. He ain't never gonna fight him. He will have to put him in a rehydration clause, all that stuff. He's never gonna fight him. Especially now, what he's seen with this fight. That's what Demetrius gonna say. Said those words like that right after the fight, bro. And you know what? It's true. Yo, fighters know fighters, bro. They know. They know. He said after this, Canelo ain't never gonna fight David Benavidez. And I was still on the fence, like, man, maybe this fight could go through. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this fight could go through. And then when I heard Canelo Alvarez in that interview, when he said, oh, they got to give me 150, $200 million, or he rehydrates 25 pounds. And then I went back to when Demetrius Andre told me he's gonna have to put him on a weight rehydration clause and a catch weight. Because we never heard Canelo Alvarez talk about rehydration clause like that. There are no Benavidez fans. Suldo, versus Benavidez. What's good? What's good? Cuerpo, cuerpo, cuerpo. One of the members of Punch Wrong Boxing says, yo, there are no Benavidez fans. Suldo and Benavidez been a year in works and it's here. Benavidez always been a cruiser. Mexican boxing fans win. A trilogy is coming. Hey, yo, bro. Yo, I want to see David Benavidez. I think David Benavidez gonna beat Suldo Ramirez, and then I want to see. To be honest, I want to see David Benavidez in the heavyweight division. Forget about the Olodi. What's his name? Obatai. I don't give a fuck about that fight. To be honest, I don't give a fuck about that fight. I'd rather see. I like entertainment at the same time. I'd rather see if David Benavidez beats Suldo Ramirez. I want to see Cinco de Mayo. David Benavidez make his heavyweight debut. I'm talking. I'm not Cinco de Mayo. Mexican Independence Week. David Benavidez debuts at heavyweight versus Andy Ruiz. That's me. That's what I want to see because I know Andy Ruiz got fast hands. David Benavidez got fast hands. They throw combination. They're out there to fight. They stay in the middle of the ring. Hey, yo, somebody's gonna get hurt. Somebody's gonna get knocked out. I think it will be one of the most entertaining Mexican fights of our time, bro. Andy Ruiz is not that big, but he's dangerous. Also, Andy Ruiz been a champion. David Benavidez is moving up again. Everybody knows that David Benavidez at the age of 15, 14 was 230 pounds. He's a fat boy at heart, fighting another fat boy at heart. They can eat whatever they want to eat. Yo, I'm telling you, bro. Yo, I am telling you, this will be better than Marquez, than the Berea and Morales, bro. Or Berea and Marquez. Whatever you want to call it, whatever Mexican you match them up, this will be an explosive heavyweight throwdown fight. I've not even done one video of David Benavidez versus Obatai. I want if David Benavidez beats Suldo Ramirez, I want him to make his heavyweight debut already. I think the hybrid heavyweights is out the window. We look, we got Richie Torres, we don't got these 6'6", 6'5", 6'7" heavyweights weighing 260 pounds. No, we look. Alexander Usyk is 220. David Benavidez walk around 220. David Benavidez walk around at 215, 220, 218. That's where he trains at. Andy Ruiz around the same weight. They're saying hybrid heavyweights that's weighing 260 pounds, 250 pounds, and stuff like that. That's why I think that he could compete at heavyweight right now. Savage said, damn, I think Ruiz will knock him out. So what? Let's see the knockout. Let's see the knockout. We're not babysitting nobody, man. We don't know what's gonna happen in the sport of boxing. Everybody thought that Canelo, that Bud Crawford was not gonna stand in the middle of the ring with Canelo Alvarez and trade punches, and look what happened. We don't know what's gonna happen. We didn't know that Bud Crawford, out of all his opponent, the guy that was gonna give him the toughest work was gonna be Mazurov. We didn't know that. We didn't know that it was gonna be Camboso to beat Teofimo Lopez. We didn't know that. A lot of people had Devin Haney as the favorite to beat Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia beat him from pillar to post. We didn't know that he was going to have the best shoulder roll. Yo, Ryan Garcia had a better shoulder roll than Devin Haney in their fight. Like, we don't know what's going to... We didn't know that Lamar Roach was going to be the guy that's going to give Gervonta Tank Davis a run for his money. Everybody thought that Lamar Roach was going to get knocked out in the third round. We don't know. I think in the sport of boxing, the hardcore boxing fans, they're so opinionated, and they feel, and the hardcore boxing fans and hardcore boxing channels think they are the geniuses of all genius. They're Nostradamus. And you know what's happening right now in the hardcore boxing fan community is that we kill fights thinking that, oh, just because we think this fighter, it could be this fighter, we don't want to see it. And we kill the fight. Oh, no. I don't want to see no fucking Demetrius Andre versus... I want to see that fight versus Canelo, man. Canelo fucking beat Demetrius Andre. No, he won't. You don't know that. You don't know that. I want to see it. I want to see how easy Demetrius Andre style is with Canelo. I want to see it. You just, some people just don't want to see Canelo Alvarez even struggle, even lose to the Andre, because then they're gonna look at Canelo Alvarez sideways. But any Canelo Alvarez fans know that Demetrius Andre style is all wrong for Canelo Alvarez. And if y'all don't think that, y'all smoking crack. You know and I know, as a Canelo Alvarez fan, we know which style Canelo Alvarez can't fuck with. Now I don't know. We don't know if he's gonna beat the Mizon. We don't know if the Mizons are gonna be Canelo Alvarez. We don't know Canelo Alvarez, but we know you people just didn't want to see Canelo in the ring with the Mizons because they can't even fathom the thought of Demetrius Andre beating Canelo Alvarez. The Canelo Alvarez fanboys adopted how Canelo Alvarez was moving. These motherfuckers would dare say that David Benavidez is not Mexican. No, he's not talking about David Benavidez because David Benavidez is not Mexican. Just for Canelo Alvarez when he made the comment that he don't want to face Dominican. He wasn't talking about David Benavidez. Y'all wanted to support the John Ryder fight, so he won't fight. But Punch, you gotta understand that John Ryder, he's a mandatory. No, he's a mandatory. Just to save Canelo Alvarez, you pathetic fools. No, John Ryder is a mandatory position. Your boy Boo should have fought John Ryder. You guys are pathetic. Then he loses to a damn welterweight. That's what happened when you babysit motherfuckers so long. You lose to somebody you're not supposed to lose to. Dude lost to a welterweight, bro. Embarrassing. He embarrassed me, bro. He said John Ryder looks more Mexican than Canelo. Sudo versus Canelo. Canelo is done, man. The only, let me tell you like this, Cuerpo. The only reason Canelo Alvarez stays in boxing, if if that contract, if that contract that he had with Turkey Al Sheikh is not voided after the Bud Crawford fight. If Turkey says the only way I would give you that contract, it was a 4-fight deal. You lost the Bud Crawford. Get the fuck out of my face. You would not fight this next 2 fights, and that's it. And Eddie Reynoso already said that Canelo Alvarez is not going to be fighting till what? Um, September. Canelo Alvarez already lost his mojo, bro. Canelo Alvarez went full blown businessman, but he went full blown businessman, not giving the F. That's why he kept on saying, "I do whatever I want to do. I do whatever I want to do." So get the fuck out of here. Do whatever you want to do and go sell gas. Go open up your gasoline station and stuff like that and pour them fucking cheap gas. Get out of here, man. Yeah, 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 he turned me off, my brothers. He turned me off. That's not the Canelo Alvarez guy. That Canelo Alvarez changed. He's not the guy that I was rooting for, bro. He did all the opposite thing. Even man, I used to be no, don't worry. He's gonna be fighting David Benavidez. He's gonna come. He's probably gonna be fighting in the last fight of his contract with PBC. Nothing. Nah, he's gonna activate the rematch clause with Bivol. Nothing. Then he swallowed his damn fucking pride. He already vacated his world title because he said, "Who the hell is William Skull? I don't even know who William Skull is." And then Turkey Al Sheikh come to play, and you know exactly who William Skull is. God don't like ugly, man. God don't like ugly. They gave you Al. Put it this way: PBC Al Heyman gave Canelo Alvarez the opportunity to empower himself, right? Taught him the ropes, how to get these TV deals and stuff like that. That's why he said, that's why Canelo Alvarez said himself out of his mouth that he wished he would have started his career with Al Heyman. And then when Al Heyman, remember with the Jake Paul situation with Netflix, that was PBC, Al Heyman, and Jake Paul locked that deal for Canelo Alvarez to give him $100 million deal. Meaning those are the also the business people that they got that you're gonna break bread with. And you stiffed Al Heyman and PBC to get the fucking William Skull fight with Turkey Al Sheikh when he had an easy fight lined up for you. Remember, that was most valuable, but remember, Jake Paul showed the contract. It was PBC, Canelo Promotions, and Most Valuable Promotions. And you sold your soul. You sold your rights to Turkey. You a bitch. You sold your soul. Once you have all the power, why would you sell it? $100 million. Look how they talking about Anthony Joshua. Yo, look at the broken jaw. Then you went to fucking to fight William Skull, bro. And then you looked at yo, that was one of the worst fights of Canelo Alvarez's career, bro. You looked at so horrible. Yeah. William Skull was running like a bitch, but you looked at horrible too. And then you fought a welterweight, follow up with that in the stadium, Allegiant Stadium, and you laid an egg. You wet the bed. Man, stay retired. Nobody wants to see you. Stay retired. I'ma keep it real, and I'ma say right here, right now. Canelo Alvarez is only good for content. That's it. That's all he got left. That's all he got left. I'm letting you know right now. He's only good for content. Canelo Alvarez got a good fan base, and content creators like myself understood. And I don't want to abandon those fan base. Hey yo, I like Canelo Alvarez. I'm just fed up with him. I'm just fed up with him how he moved. He sold his soul. That's how I feel. Because even look, put it this way, I even said, even if Terrence Bud Crawford wins, it is not great for boxing. You know why? Because I said that boxing has a tradition of the passing of the torch. Boxing moves forward. David Benavidez had all the ingredients to move boxing into a new era. If he wins, right? The Mexican Latino fan base will still have their star. Boxing will have a entertaining fighter that throws down, I wouldn't duck nobody, right? And David Benavidez, young at the age of 28, to give us another 4 to 5, 7 years of elite on his way to move up and probably end his career at heavyweight. Canelo, we all know that Terrence Bud Crawford was going to retire. Even Turkey Al Sheikh said, "You know, you're not going to retire, right? You don't retire, Chocolate Thunder. Don't retire on me." Now Bud Crawford retires. Canelo Alvarez is doomed. And now where we at? Now imagine if David Benavidez was the one to beat Canelo Alvarez. The world the box will be talking about. Now we have a lot of things to look forward to. We have a star to move our sport because that's the way that it is. Stars move sports, just like they do in basketball and baseball, yes. But this guy was afraid that David Benavidez se puede defender en inglés and español. He could speak English and Spanish, could talk trash, could fight his ass off, is entertaining. And he knew that if David Benavidez would have whooped him, he will get all the fans in Mexico and Mexican Americans and Latino. He's look apart. He fights apart. He speaks both languages. He's young. And Canelo Alvarez did not want to. That Canelo Alvarez is jealous already of David Benavidez, what was on the verge of what David Benavidez would have become. But anyway, folks, um, That's gonna be it for tonight. Go looking out for the people that's tuning in. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Tomorrow we back at it on a regular time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Going live, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time or 8 p.m. Eastern time. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody that engaged with the channel, everybody in the chat, everybody in the um donations. We only had 2 donations today. Shout out to Caesar. Shout out to Berleezy for president. Good looking out for the donations. Love you. I got blessing on to the next.